There is a resurgence of Laurel and Hardy going on. And I laugh at it every time I see it, even these little YouTube clips. And I'm 89. I've been watching Laurel and Hardy my whole life. My whole life, and still I laugh as if seeing them for the first time. What's going on? Let's find out. But first, I'm Ed Conley. And as I said, I'm about 89 and I've been laughing at the absurdity of life since the 50s. Spiritual awakening is laughter. And spiritual awakening happens when we are confronted with an absurdity, an impossibility. So that's Laurel and Hardy. Laurel and Hardy are absurd. And the only way to get out of the absurdity of this ambiguity is through laughter. So the content does not make us laugh. It's the frame or the equation or the formula that holds these two together. And that's why I laugh no matter how many times I've seen the skit. So let's look at it deeply. Laurel is Hardy, Hardy is Laurel. They're different, but you can't separate them. Laurel by himself or Hardy by himself would not be an act. You have to stir them together as two opposites which are contradictory. Well, let's see, it's difficult to explain. So let's say it this way. Laurel and Hardy as characters both have the same intentions. Both want to get respect for a job well done. So every skit is a new job, and every skit ends in mutual destruction. And the destruction always starts out accidentally. But then it escalates into mutual destruction, intentional destruction. It's and you have to get inside Laurel and Hardy. You have to inhabit them. You have to inhabit Laurel and Hardy and see them in your own life. Surely you've had a situation where you get into a fight or an argument, and it's a pattern with somebody, and it always ends up in the same disaster. Blocking them, storming out, violence. I'll never see you again. And you do. So there's a Groundhog Day repetition pattern here that starts out innocently. You know this, the relative comes, and you start out innocently in the kitchen, and the next thing you know, you're screaming at each other. And you have to walk out of the room in order to avoid the violence, because it escalates into an explosion. This is why the newspapers are full of people who shoot each other to avoid Laurel and Hardy. To avoid mutual destruction. Better to kill the other person than to be devoured by the absurdity, than to be devoured by the ambiguity. So let's look at ambiguity. Laurel and Hardy is fundamentally ambiguous. Ambiguity means, my frogs, two frogs. The frogs are ambiguous in that each is identical to the other in one situation, which is this camera. And so I asked her, well, which one? Would you hand me the real frog? Well, you would look at them and say, well, they're identical. And I would say, give me the one. There has to be one. There has to be one in reality. It's not two. If there's two, you'd be schizophrenic. If there were two, you would see two of everything and you couldn't choose. If there were two of everything, you wouldn't know what was real. Is it this one or that? Is this frog real or that frog real? They're ambiguous. Ambiguous means you can't tell the difference. You can't find the one. But there must be one. That's the question. There can't be two gods, two realities, two me. You see, there can only be one I, one God, one frog. But now there are two. The situation is ambiguous. So how do we get it? And this is a tension. This is painful. It's painful when you can't choose. It's painful when you don't know where you are. It's painful when you don't know how to fix the lawnmower. You're a man. You should know how to fix the lawnmower. It's painful when you have to, for a man, to have to go ask somebody how to get home. I should know how to get home. I would rather wander forever than ask somebody how to get home. Women think this is crazy. He won't ask directions, they say. But see, the man, the masculine mind, is the one, and he must know the one. He can't, the masculine, I'm digressing here, but we're trying to understand the ambiguity of Laurel and Hardy and why they make me laugh. When there is ambiguity in your life or in a situation, there's only, and it's painful, you have to understand that ambiguity is painful because there must be one, but there can't be. There's two. There's two. Which is the one? I don't know. Well, then we'd have to ask somebody. I asked the doctor. I asked Trump. I asked some authority what the one is because I can't choose. The situation is ambiguous and it's painful. There must be the one. So if I can't choose, I'm confused. I have to ask an authority to choose for me. And then I say, oh, thank you, sir. You have given me the teaching. You have told me what the one is. I can rest, you see. But now I'm dependent upon you to tell me what the one is. You see the trap? The trap of Laurel and Hardy? So Laurel and Hardy creates a drama of dynamic unity where both partners are mutually exclusive. They have the same, they're united because they're beloved friends. They love each other and they have the same intention as a couple to get respect for a job well done. But they end up in sabotage. Starts out, as I said, it'll start out accidentally. And Laurel is the trigger. So Laurel will accidentally sabotage Hardy. But Laurel can't claim guilty. Hardy says, why do you do this? You go, oh, God, you know. And Laurel says, I'm innocent. I didn't mean to do it. It's accidental. It was an accident. I didn't mean to do it. Have you noticed that all of the mysteries, British mysteries, end up with the murderer saying, it was an accident. I didn't mean to do it. I had good intentions. I just wanted to help them. And look, it was an accident. I didn't mean to kill him. You go to jail anyway. So we love these mysteries, these closures. I'm watching The Closer. That's like that. In other words, the guilty always have some good intentions, and she closes and says, "You're going to jail, motherfucker." But she does it with a smile and with compassion. So we got to get to. So I'm going to pick this up in another talk, because Laurel and Hardy. Everything I know is what I discovered in Laurel and Hardy. Like I said, I've been watching them my whole life. We don't go deep enough into it. So let's dig deeper. So I'm going to continue this in the next talk. The secret of Laurel and Hardy and why we laugh every time we see it, even though we've seen them over and over and over again. What is the secret? I'm going to stop here and we're going to pick it up again.